It is that time once again, folks. It's time for the Tom Lacey Sports Hour, and here he is, the man himself, Tom Lacey.
Good morning, Coach McVean. Are you there? Oh, yep. Coach McVean?
Yes, sir.
Hey, good morning to you. I'm going to do a little introduction to you first, and then we'll, I'm going to tell all about your accomplishments, and then you'll comment after that. I got Coach Daugherty and Neil in here, and they're anxious to talk to you. So, okay, here I go. You might think it's a little corny, but sometimes corny is good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, let me find that. Okay, bear with me, everyone. Okay. Right. Here it is for you. Oh, nope, that's not it. Nope. Okay, we're going to forget that. I'm just going to talk about your accomplishments. Okay. It was the song by Frank Sinatra, I Did It My Way, and I wanted to play it for you because that's the way you coached, and you were an awesome coach. But let's see, I'm going to find the okay, bear with me, Coach. I'm sorry. It's
all right.
I got it. Okay, I'm going to go over your accomplishments. You coached 41 years as head coach of RIT men's basketball, and you won 613 games in 44 years as a Division III coach. You had the longest tenure among current coaches at RIT, and you guys always been a top team forever. You enter third most wins active Division III coaches. Do you know what you ended up as most wins in Division III history, or you must be in the top 5?
I think, well, I'm not quite sure. Total, no, I think you're being gracious. I think around 18, someone said. The 18th.
Okay, great.
A lot of good coaches.
You're in the Basketball Hall of Fame. You're inducted to the RIT Hall of Fame. And you have so many accomplishments. Your teams have always been excellent every year. And I'm so glad that you're able to call in. These guys, Coach, I call him Coach Daugherty because he's a coach, and Neil, he coached briefly 1 year for you. Do you remember any things about his first year as your assistant? Is there anything with not the school van, but the can you talk about that?
Well, I think Neil was finishing, I may stand corrected, this is a few decades ago. Neil was finishing his degree, I believe, at RIT, and so he was there an extra year, not because he wasn't a good student, it's just he was there, and so he was an integral part of our program, a captain and so forth while he was in the playing days. And, certainly he had some interest in, helping us, probably a volunteer assistant, of course. And so we really appreciated him the next year out. I know you have alluded to maybe an incident, but
Go ahead, Coach. It's okay.
We had, I don't know if I should talk about that or not.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know Neil has shared that with some people. And anyways, one night I sent him recruiting. So he I think he stopped off before he went recruiting to get groceries or something, and so he had to took what he purchased, groceries, back to the food back to his apartment where he was staying. But being a maybe relatively new individual, but still, I thought he had some pretty good common sense. But he left the car running, went into his apartment, and then when he came out, the car was gone. And I think I don't know if he saw it going, and he ran down after the car, but he lost that race from that standpoint. So he calls me, and I believe his words were, "Coach, I lost the car." I said, "What?" No, it was stolen. I said, "Oh, okay." So I, of course, had to tell our athletic director. And anyways, I know Neil was very disappointed and upset. He said the next 2 or 3 weeks or a couple of weeks, he had kind of combed the area to see if he could find it, but it was returned. Although I think someone put had house paint on the side where it said RIT or whatever. I don't know. But I know that's a memorable engraved in Neil's mind, but that wasn't a real concern. But
Sure.
he had a great career for us, and he's really had a very successful professional career, I know.
Yep. I'm going to let each of them introduce, talk, say hello, and I'm going to start with Coach Kevin Daugherty first. He's going to talk to you right now. Get close to the mic a little bit, okay?
Hi, Coach. Can you hear me?
Hi. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Kevin? Good.
I was thinking on the way here this morning about a couple of things that I wanted to talk about with you. And one of them was the job that you did at Little Eisenhower College, the turnaround from when you got there to, what was it, Coach, 4 years that you coached there, or 5?
5.
Yeah. Just the turnaround from the time that you got there when they played in the tin gym. I mean, I think that was the year before you got there. And they'd built a new field house. Miraculous, really, to think about it. What did we probably have, maybe 500-600 kids?
Maybe a few more. When we finished, when it closed its doors in '82, I think there was only about 320, but I'm not sure, Kevin, what it was when I went there.
Yeah, the job that you did, though, in just those few years was incredible as far as I'm concerned. And I think about some of the SUNY schools that we had on the schedule, probably playing like 5 or 6 SUNY schools a year, and just being successful. And a couple of the other, I can remember losing a game to University of Rochester, I believe my junior year, and a game that we played them really, really tough at our place. And then had a nice article in the DNC in Rochester the next day, and Mike Neer, the coach of Rochester, just giving you kudos about the job that you had done it, and I believe he called it Little Eisenhower College. So it was very impressive.
Well, it was, it's all about recruiting, and I was fortunate. I think Mike McVean.
Oh yeah.
He was my very first recruit there, and we had a couple junior college guys from Monroe, Reggie Hill, and Carlton Smith, and
Bobby
and
Fields.
Then Habert came on.
Yep.
And no, it was certainly. I always said it was something to start building on, and they did a great job. And I was a part-time coach at the time. Obviously, Neil Cromer helped me with an assistant and some other guys too. But it's certainly always a group effort all the way around. And we were fortunate. We had that new building. We had the Tim gym, and then when I got there, they had the brand new building at that point in time, and it was certainly an attraction. And certainly the guys played hard, and it was really a great feeling of the guys coming in and working so hard, including yourself.
I remember the summer before I came, you used to send out just like little announcements about the team and recruiting and how things were going, and just motivational stuff. And I remember the numbers that you had of recruits coming in, and luckily we had a JV program, and I remember just looking at that list thinking, I better get after it and work hard over the summer so I can actually make this team.
How would you?
That was,
Coach, real quickly, how would you rank Kevin as one of your better shooters in your program?
Well, he certainly. We didn't have the 3-pointer at that time, correct? Or we did?
No, we didn't.
No.
I would have remembered that.
That would have boosted his scoring. No, outstanding 3-point shooter, but also just offensively, one of our very best we ever had.
Wow.
There at Eisenhower, and certainly I won't talk too much about his defense, but no, that was very adequate.
You always get that one in. Understandably so.
Coach, he's actually underrated defensively. He really isn't a bad defensive player for real.
Yep. No,
So-
he wouldn't have been on the floor if
Good point.
I always needle him about that, but I guess from an offensive standpoint, he blended right in. I mean, he came in, and there was new people, and he was a pleasure to coach. Always gave 110%, and he just he was very engaging. No issues at all, and I think he helped some of the guys that might have had some issues. But as all our teams do, I guess that's the uniqueness. One of the uniqueness of basketball or team sports. You have all different personalities, and in order to be successful, they've got to give of themselves and give to their teammates. And Kevin always was there to be able to do that, from that standpoint.
Okay, I got kind of a funny story I'm going to tell. After college, we all played men's league together, and we played in a championship game. Kevin was on the team, but he had a broken ankle, and we only had 5 players, but actually 4 players. So you have to start with 5. So Kevin went out with his cast on, and he just played at the other end of the court. He didn't play defense, and he stood in the corner, and we didn't think he was going to shoot. He's got a cast on. He scored 16 points, with a cast on, and we won. So that shows the heart that he has, But we didn't think he'd shoot. So I
like the part where I didn't have to play defense.
Okay, it's Neil's time to.
Tom, could I just say something?
Yeah, sure.
Kevin, after, and of course, we should mention Kevin's in the Hall of Fame, New York State Hall of Fame, and a few weeks ago, it's online, his speech, and it was very touching, his speech, especially at the end. He talked a lot about relationships, and I think that's why, most of us still coach, especially at the Division III, is I think he related, and I may get this wrong, Kevin, but an alumnus or a player that had played for Kevin and touched base with him and being a very successful, and that's kind of what it's all about. I read an article a while back about the Fortune 500 CEOs, and they refer to a lot of their success. They all played either high school or college athletics. Might not have been basketball, but it could have been in some cases. And their lessons that they learned indirectly, they use today. And I think it's all about relationships. Those of us that I think coach for the right reasons. We all want to win championships, but those other things are lifetime experiences, and hopefully we all make a difference in that.
And he definitely has made a difference in our area. There's no doubt. He's so well respected, and
I'm sure.
People love him around here. Coach, the kids that played for him loved him. I mean, they still talk about him, and that's they love seeing him, and so you definitely helped him become just a phenomenal coach and person, and he's also the second best shooter in this room right here. Just wanted to let you know that. So
well, I see when we come up to Clarkson once a year, Kevin's been able to get up there the last 2 or 3 years, and it's great to see him, and so happy for him and his family going forward in that.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, it's Neil's time. He's going to introduce, or just talk about things. Go ahead, Neil. Get closer to the mic, please.
Hey, Coach. It's great to hear your voice. Can you hear me?
You're going to have to use the other one. Yep.
Yeah. Tom, I've got my hearing aids in, so...
How about now, Coach?
Yeah, good.
Yep.
Hey, it's great to hear your voice.
Same here.
So you got the story about the stolen car. Your recollection is like perfect, except for the car was brand new. I mean, that thing was like right off the lot, freshly lettered. I was the first coach to take that thing on a recruiting trip. And I'm not kidding you. I mean, it took me 3 minutes to go into that apartment, and when I came back out, it was going up the road. It was snow.
Well, we deducted that out of your pay, right?
Yeah, well, you didn't get much.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's my claim to fame. Yeah, I mean, it was just a true honor to play for you, for the years that I was at RIT, and, then just to have the opportunity to coach, with you, and, it's been a lot of years. You actually, and to this day, I'm like, man, I can't believe he actually allowed me to do that. You actually let me coach the JV team.
Wow.
Because it was still in existence then, and I was obviously very, very young, and just had coached in the summer league basketball camps, and it was really just a great experience. And when your name comes up, just with the experience that I had with RIT and playing for you, and how was Coach McVean, and you really you taught me the importance of being prepared. All your great coaching attributes. That's one of my biggest takeaways, and something that I took from you, and when I had the opportunity to coach with Kevin, because he learned from you, and the practice preparation, the game preparation, the off-season preparation to get you ready, and just all of the things that have to go into just being as good as you can be. I've taken a lot of that and been able to apply it to my professional career, and it's really helped me. It's really helped me be successful, and I owe a lot of the kind of skill sets that I was able to learn and watch from you to apply them to my professional career, and it's really helped me. And for any other coaches out there, we got a lot of good ones, as you commented. As I kind of am a big basketball junkie, and I watch a lot of it. I watch a lot of the Division III games, high school games, and it's interesting how some coaches are really good at that, and others, you can just tell by the the progress of their teams, they maybe need to improve in that area. So I've always been really thankful for that. Those lessons that you taught me. And the other thing that you showed me when I was there, being from Plattsburgh, and it's a long time ago, so it's not close to Rochester, and you were the kind of coach that really treated your players like I always felt like I was your son. Like, you brought me over to your house when we were on break and it was just too far for me to go home, and met your family. You had a really young family at that time, and I watched you just interact with your wife and your kids, and it was just impressive all the way around. So just congratulations on a stellar career. I mean, I don't know how the hell you did it. 45 years as a head coach is just off the charts and really special, and wish you nothing but the best in a well-deserved retirement.
Well, I appreciate it, Neil. Certainly one of my former assistants is Rob de Grand Prix. I don't know if he's a Plattsburgh guy too, and
Yep.
I think he stays in touch with the guys up that way, the Holmes guys, and of course Steve Holmes. I've coached against him when he was at Geneseo, and actually we went down to, I think it was Salisbury he went to.
Yep.
And we went down for a tournament after he had left Geneseo and that. And, certainly this is a quote from Rob de Grand Prix that Neil Fesette owns half of Plattsburgh. So I didn't know what that really meant, but or he was the mayor, one or the other of Plattsburgh.
Well, neither.
Neil, your professional life, certainly you've done just an outstanding, and like you say, if there were any carryovers from basketball, which a lot of us have stated, you've really done a great job professionally. I'm sure you've got a great family as well. So congratulations on up that way, and I'm sure you'll be successful in the future.
I appreciate that, and I love Rob de Grand Prix. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's those guys up here in Plattsburgh. Not many are serious. I mean, I'm telling you, Rob is a number one, buster. So he's always busting chops, as Doc and Lace and all the the Holmeses, and we really have a great basketball community and great camaraderie, and I love it. Keeps me attached to the game.
I got a question. Sorry, Coach.
Go ahead.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
How did you recruit Neil? How did you see him? How did you go about? And one last thing I'm not sure if you knew this or not, but Neil played baseball in prep school, and he was the starting first baseman. You know who the shortstop was? Mo Vaughn.
Really?
Yep, and Mo Vaughn ended up being a first baseman in the major leagues, but Mo Vaughn was the shortstop and Neil was first baseman. That's amazing.
I'll be darned.
And Coach, you might not have realized it, but you actually, when you came and saw me play, Mo played. He was on the basketball team. He was actually a pretty good player too.
Yep. Well, to be honest, I'm getting old, and I'm trying to think back what the connection was where we, initially Neil had a chance to see you, or, your name came in front of us. And maybe you can relate to that. I'm not sure.
Coach, I'm going to have to step in here and straighten this out a little bit.
That's what I thought. Yep.
I brought Neil to your basketball camp. And I believe it was probably 81 or 80, around in there.
Yes, 81, I think.
81?
Yeah, 81.
Yeah.
81.
And I think the year before, I had brought another local guy, Bernie Bullis, who was a little point guard, played baseball at Oswego State. Great guy, state trooper, retired up here in our community. And the next year, Jeff Holmes and I brought this skinny, long, lanky guard at the time, Neil Fesette. And I I think that's how it got started. So maybe you had his name in the back of your mind before it came across your desk when he was recruitable.
Yeah.
Well, I obviously, thanks, Kevin. I almost thought that's the way it went. I mean, you got to understand.
That's a lot of years.
So, but and I'm sure, obviously, we liked when Neil was at camp, and we followed through with it. So, I guess that's a plus for us.
Yeah, you know what, Coach? I remember attending that basketball camp, which was, and I coached at a lot of basketball camps during my college years, many, and by far the best basketball camp. You know, it's just really well organized, huge turnout of kids. It was just a great camp, and I ended up playing with in college. It's interesting how you kind of did use that as a recruiting tool. I think there was Jeff Haskell, Rich Setter, Jeff Rogers.
Yep.
Those guys all attended that camp, and I just kind of, I kind of just knew them. I only went to the camp, I think that maybe I went 2 years, but I kind of got to know those guys then, and then it was just cool how we ended up playing together in college, and it just kind of came full circle.
Wow.
Yeah, I think back, we started the camp. I won't get into the history of that, but that was one of the obviously first years that it came to RIT. Or it started up in, I don't want to get into the weeds here, up in Perry, New York, at YMCA, and it was outdoor. And so when I moved or got involved with Eisenhower, we moved to camp there. And the first year, I said, "Oh, we're going to do 7 days," and I said, "Oh my Lord." I think I lost 20 pounds, and it was a great camp, a great start. And I said, we're not doing this again. Then we went to 6 days, and now for about 3 or 4 days. But the overnight, and it's I get tired thinking about it. But my family always stepped in, and we didn't have prepay. We had checks coming in, and my wife did all the clerical work, and I don't know. It was a great experience. Then when it came to RIT, after when I moved to here in 82, 83, 84, we had at one time in the early 90s we had around 360 campers, and it was very got to know a lot of the coaches in this area and the guys. One thing I'd love to get in touch with a lot of those camp coaches over the years. We did have it for about 38 years, but and there was a really close-knit group of guys that coached, and it was a lot of work. I mean, it was a 10-hour day, if not close to it, and it doesn't exist anymore to some degree. But they're all prospect camps now. But and of course the AAU has kind of taken over in some ways, and there's a lot of pluses to AAU, and I think there's some
negative.
Because I'm a skill guy, and when you're playing, and I shouldn't get into this, but when you're playing 4 or 5 or 6 games in a weekend, and then do those same players go and work on their skills during the week?
Absolutely.
And, but that's my own. I'm old. You got to understand that.
Yeah, Coach. Did you know I was Neil's high school coach at St. John's?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you knew that. Yeah, and
yeah, Coach. The big difference between Tom and you, as my coach, is that Tom told me to shoot the ball every single time I got it, and you did not tell me to do that.
Yeah, Neil had the green light, and he was MVP of the league too. So he. One thing, I'm sure when he played for you, Neil is one of the best screen setters I've ever known. I mean, when I played with him, I would get open because of his screens. And did he do the same thing for you? It's an unselfish thing, and it's very important too. And how did he set really good screens for you? Because he did for me. No
question. I mean, he was all-around player. I mean, That's the key. He played both ends. He was once. I know he was a skinny kid at one time, but as he progressed through, his college years, he was fit and strong. So he could rebound, he could defend, he could set screens, and we let him shoot it sometimes. So, but certainly he wouldn't have been playing if he didn't do all those things. And I mean, we all, like our MVP this year of the camp, of the team. He started one game, but when he came in the game, he played his role, and he not only scored, he did everything else. So we always say it doesn't matter who starts; it's who finishes.
Absolutely. So. Do you know Maceo Dubose? He was a coach in our area, and he wanted to make a comment. He said, "I have one question for Coach McVean," and he said, Could Neil have played point guard for RRT, because his high school coach, he played point guard, and and for Neil, does he feel they should have run more plays for him at RIT?
Another wise guy, Coach.
Are you sure Neil did not tell him to say that, question that?
No, it's another guy that, a funny dude. It's but I let him have the green light. So
yeah. Well, we all have to certainly adjust our play to the talent we have, and I'm sure Neil was an outstanding. Well, he's an outstanding college player too, but his role changed, and we had some other guys that shot it, but Neil, as I said, Neil could play at the guard, off the ball, inside, four-man, and certainly in today's game, which is, I watch the pros, some, and even the Division Ones. I mean, a lot of it's changing. Neil could be a guard. He could be 1 through 5.
Wow.
Because you watch some of the philosophy nowadays, and I know they're great athletic people, but a lot of the time you'll see 5 guys around the arc, and because they have skills of all different levels, and therefore, they dribble drive, the help comes, they kick it, and the 3. I mean, that happens a lot. Or, like you say, Tom, the screens are very, very important.
So important,
Weak side screens are almost non-existent now because of the physicality and everything else.
Yep.
So the screen and roll, which was more popular, now it's almost as many times is the pick and pop. They don't roll the basket; they pop out because there's a switch or whatever.
I'll never forget this. We played in a big 3-on-3 tournament in Vermont, the Vermont Shootout. It's called. A lot of Division I players, and we had a pretty good team, but we're going against some tough players. But Neil said, he told us, he said, the no layup rule is in effect, because you had to call your own fouls back then. And we won the tournament, and no one, I'm not kidding you. If anyone went to the hoop, they got night trained. And we won.
Well, you look at the NBA, and they were on with Luka. I mean, guys set picks for him, and they never roll the basket. I know why, because they may get in his way because he's going to drive it. But they get as many, and he is a very good. And I don't pick on him, but he does see the floor well, and he does involve his teammates. But I don't know. It's we're used to more movement off the ball, and we've always said that the toughest guy to guard is the guy that's moving and cutting. The last few years we've done a lot with cutting, and I think one of the things they talk about with Steph Curry, not only is a great shooter and a great player, but he never stops on the floor.
Absolutely.
He's always moving. He trusts his teammates that he's going to get the ball back at some point in time, and just makes him very difficult to guard.
I'm going to sneak in this question real quick. If Dennis Rodman played against Draymond Green, who would get ejected?
Because of recent, probably Draymond Green. I don't. I tell you, Rodman was, and he was perfect for the guys he played with.
Yeah.
He did all the dirty work. I mean, I was looking at a film, I don't know, a while back, and I mean, if he didn't get 15 rebounds a game, I mean, that was a poor game for him.
Mm-hmm.
But to go into your question, it might be a toss-up, Tom.
Oh, that's Maceo had a question for Coach Daugherty. He said, for Doc, would he have let Neil play guard if he coached him at any level?
Well, you got to understand that when Neil was a high school player, he kind of reminded me of a young Pistol Pete Maravich. I mean, he had handle, he had a swagger, and certainly he was a guard, at that point in time. And then I think when he ended up at RIT, I think we've talked about this before. You mentioned to me that, the quickness of some of the guards that Coach had at the time, you decided to get in the weight room and you made yourself a post player. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty impressive as far as I'm concerned.
Sure is. I have a whole bunch of comments from your former players, and I'm going to start reading some. Yeah, go ahead.
Interject something there. And Neil saw, and team players do what Neil just did, or did do for us, because we had Haskell Rogers at a
Coco?
Yeah, and they were
yes. Yep.
Who was the third one from Brockport? Transferred in.
Rich Setter.
Setter. And I mean, he saw that group of. I mean, they were all 5'10" to 6 foot, and we had to play them or at some point in time. And Neil saw, hey, I can get on the floor because we lack this particular quality in a player, and that's why he ended up doing what he did. And I mean, he fit what we needed in the program.
I'm going to put you on the spot on this one, if you don't mind. And Coach Daugherty might be upset at this, but no, maybe he won't. Okay, better shooter, Jeff Haskell or Kevin Daugherty? And you don't have to feel obligated to answer that. So, he's shaking his head right now.
I think maybe Doc, range-wise, I'm going to beg off somewhat.
I know.
Range-wise, Doc could shoot it from any place, 30 feet, whatever it was. Jeff certainly could, but he also had a jump shot, mid-range and that as well. Mm-hmm. So, politically, that's the way I could answer the question.
I understand. Okay, this is from Rob the Grand Prix. He said, let's see, we had a fancy white Toyota Camry RIT Tiger. This isn't the Neil story in the athletic department, and he got whacked by I guess a drunk driver, and he was scared out of his mind to tell you, and he waited until he said we swept Ithaca, assistant coach Cherry Dobbs, and Elmira one weekend. Then I put the driver's side mirror on your desk after we got to the office, and we didn't want the AD to know for fear of future headaches. So he said to ask you if he was able to duct tape that sucker on. You know him. He's something else. Rob's. He was your assistant 3 seasons, including the Empire 8 Conference Championship.
Yep.
Oh, he said ask him who helped him polish his computer skills during those early years of technology?
Well, I still need help from that, but he did. I'll give him credit.
Yeah. Do you remember Jeff Law? Remember Jeff Law, Norm's son?
Yes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
He said to say hello and congratulations, and he also said that you guys he coached at Hobart and you played against him. And I asked Jeff, I said, did you ever beat him? And he said, no, never beat him. So, but he said congratulations on your retirement, and it's pretty neat that these guys are calling in. And one guy that you probably don't know, Dane Wall, he just said, tell Coach McVean he's lucky to have coached two of the classiest gentlemen you'll ever meet. Good players, but better people. And he's so right on that. Let's see.
Well, Norm, of course, Jeff's dad. Of course, he was at Minders Academy, and then, of course, up at Plattsburgh, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then he must have got to know. Again, I don't want to take up time.
No, we got plenty of time. Don't worry.
He's at Pitt. He was at Pitt at St. Lawrence.
Evans.
Paul Evans.
Paul Evans.
Paul Evans.
Yep.
And so they must have gotten. Of course, they coached together down at Pitt as well. And then, and actually, Norm, I'm going way back. My old high school coach, and I went with him to Hobart. Jack Flowers. They went to Brockport together and played on the Brockport team. But we're going back into the 50s.
That's okay.
That's 1950. So I knew Norm a little bit. I mentioned that camp up in Silver Lake in Perry. Norm also was up with that as well.
Wow. Oh, okay. I got some comments also from Scott Cutaire.
Yep.
He said, thank you for the opportunity. You wouldn't let me quit. You told me to stick it out and keep showing up. You may have said that because you needed me to help the team GPA, or you needed a punching bag in practice for Todd Palukas or something like that.
Palauskas.
Yeah.
Palauskas.
But I listened to you and had 2 great years playing for you. I'm glad to have been a small part of the ECAC championship team. You recruited great players and quality people, and both teams I played on got better as the season progressed, not just on the court, but with chemistry off the court as well. 2 signs of a great coach. And he said, congrats on outstanding, legendary career. I'm sure you touched thousands of lives like you did mine. And thanks for giving a skinny kid from Plattsburgh a chance. So Scott wanted to get that in.
Do you know if Scott is back in the North Country?
Oh yeah, he's teaching at Beakertown.
Yep.
He's probably listening, so if you want to say hello to him.
Well, thank you, Scott.
Yeah, he's just another classy guy.
Yep.
What's that? Oh yeah, he coached with Kevin.
Yeah, I coached Scott for 3 years at Plattsburgh High School, and when he went to RIT, and I think he was there 2 years and decided that he wanted to teach, and came back to Plattsburgh State, and he was my assistant for 4 years at Plattsburgh High School. Tremendous job, and I've always said that I think Scott is, if not he's one of the best basketball coaches in the North Country who is not coaching. He runs a wonderful jump camp.
Yes.
For years and years now. It's very, very popular. Just a super, super great guy.
Mm-hmm.
Very good.
I have another comment. I have some questions too. When Neil was playing for you, you guys played a game at St. Lawrence. And I'm not sure Neil could probably comment on what exactly happened, but I think you guys lost that game, and I'm not sure if Neil got a technical or got ejected. He got in a fight, and that's because he's got so much heart. I mean, I'm sure this guy deserved it, but I'm not sure if you remember that game at all. I'll let Neil comment on that.
Yeah, let Neil comment on that.
Well, it was my freshman year, and a lot of times being a freshman, some of the veteran players on the opposing team will give you the business, and that's kind of the way it transpired. Basketball is a physical sport. I mean, it's been a long time since that happened, so I guess my memory's not crystal clear. I think we got hung up under the basket, and one thing led to another, and we were throwing haymakers. Actually, the guy is actually from Burlington, and we ended up competing against him in men's leagues, when we were as a kind of like older guys just playing men's league, and we really were never very friendly to one another since that experience. But we were short that game. We had sickness on the team, and I think we went up there and we only had 7 guys.
Wow.
There was a couple of us involved in that little skirmish, and Coach, you probably worked your magic with the officials, and they actually didn't throw anybody out, and we did complete that game. But
wow.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you remember, Coach. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Thanks for that memory.
Coach, I'm not sure if you remember, I was a college referee. I actually repped a couple of your games. I'm not sure where, maybe at Clarkson or St. Lawrence or wherever. Mm-hmm. And you won both games, just to let you know. I mean...
well, that's why I always asked the assigner to get you on as many games as we could.
Yeah, but I loved you were so classy out there. I remember, never said anything, never complained. That's because you got all the calls from me, because these are two of my best friends.
Go that way a lot of times up there.
Yeah. What's your best win ever? Your best win ever? Anything that stands out?
Well, I mean, I guess you talk about, you got to look what game might have meant a little bit more than another, and I guess I'd have to say in the Sweet 16, we ended up playing in the Buffalo State, and we did double overtime. They were back then. Buffalo State was. I mean, Dick Beer did a great job coaching, but he also inherited a lot of guys would go out of town to Division II or I, and then didn't work out, and he'd get them back. But anyways, he did a great job with it. But Craig Jones got fouled and ended up. I think we ended up winning by 3 or 2 or 3, and got us into the final 8.
Wow!
And played home with Alvernia. That was a different story. But if we had better coaching, we would have been gone farther.
Elite 8, though. That's amazing. Really is amazing. Well, anything you want to say about? As you know, we're all really good friends with Tom Curl. Anything you want to say to him? After we tape this show, I'll let him listen, because he's not on Facebook or anything. So, any comments you want to say about?
Well, Tommy, of course, when I was at Eisenhower back in Seneca Falls, of course, he was at Waterloo, and he actually called me about a month ago and so forth. And I wish he was still in coaching and that, but he had a great career. Certainly we played them, and actually we ended up losing to them at one time when I was at Eisenhower, but he had a great career. I know he's kind of gone into the administrative area and that, but I believe he was just inducted in the New York State Hall of Fame.
Yes,
correct?
He was. Yeah. Well deserved.
And
you know what his first comment was? He had such a great speech, but he said, "Why did everyone think I was a ping pong coach? Because he's an Asian. The only Asian college basketball." That was his first comment, and you know him. He doesn't care. But
No.
it was fitting too, though. You know, he's such a great guy. So
Yeah, he was good friends with some other people that helped, that assisted me. Toby Brown's a good friend.
oh
of his.
yes, yep.
That you know, they all played together at one time or another, and now it's good to hear from him. I think he's in North Carolina right now, or I'm not sure. where he
He's
is down
Florida.
there.
He does fundraising in Florida, but
Right.
Just
Yeah.
retired.
yeah, just
And
retired.
I think
Yep.
he had a daughter in
Yep.
the D.C. area. I mean, that went to school there. I'm not sure.
Yeah, he did. And he also had another daughter that played at Bowdoin. That was
Yep.
just a great player, and he's got
Mhm.
very nice family too. All these
Sure.
guys, like
Yep.
great families. Who was your toughest defensive player you've ever coached?
Boy, it's a tough question.
I know,
Um,
because defense is underrated. You know, I mean, those are the things that win basketball games, as you know.
hmm And you hope everybody, but everybody doesn't take the same approach, as you well know.
Yeah.
And that is, that would be, Tom. That would be very difficult to
Okay.
go all the way back.
I
to a
understand.
point in time. I mean, there's certain people we use. We always talk about in a starting lineup. You'd love to have two defensive stoppers that could play a number of people, but usually you have one designated guy that can, and we've always done that, and also you usually have a weaker defensive player that you're trying to
Yeah.
put on someone else that maybe doesn't drive. I mean, as I said, the game has changed, and for years we've used the inside-out philosophy. We've always had a lot of our All-Americans were post players, or what I would call power forwards. And nowadays, it's almost you've got to have 4 guard type individuals on the floor. I don't mean they're all guard, but that can defend multiple positions and multiple size. A year ago, our best player was like a power forward type, but kind of slow. So we were always looking at our opponents to put him on someone that, if he was isolated, couldn't shoot the 3 as much, but would drive it. So that's kind of, it's been a challenge from that. And but I think the game, of course, as we know, has changed at the college level and even at the professional level.
It sure has.
Division III is similar, but maybe a little less quickness and a little less size. But I obviously now, I look at Oswego with Jason Leone. He's had some very good athletic people, and I watched him a couple years ago in the NCAA, and had such great athletic people. Go back to what I stated before. A lot of his stuff was just 5 out, and they could get to the rim, and if the help came, but he's utilized his personnel really well.
What's your record against Jerry Welch?
Jerry Welch never.
You never played
him.
Potsdam? Wow. Okay.
No, not. And then he, believe it or not, he's even before my time. Although I was at Eisenhower, and I think he was still coaching. I don't know. You may know, Tom, when he retired. Not sure.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
We never played him at Eisenhower, and of course, he may have been done coaching by '82, but I may be wrong.
Yeah. What was your toughest school to beat in your biggest rivalry when you coached? Mainly at RIT.
Well, out of conference, of course, U of R, Mike Neer, we have a great amount of respect for. We had lunch a couple of weeks ago, and actually I worked with Mike one year when Eisenhower closed, and I know the date, July 22nd of '82. He called me the next day, and you have to know Mike Neer. He's a very he has some different ways of saying. He says, "I just heard they played taps on Eisenhower. I need an assistant." So we moved. My family, we moved from Seneca Falls up to Rochester, and I was still teaching at Sodas High School. I was a part-time coach at Hobart, and then at Eisenhower, and then at the U of R for the 1 year, and then Billy Nelson went to Nazareth and RIT opened. So, but the U of R had great teams back then. I guess you'd call it a rivalry. I think within the Empire 8 when we were in there, I think the locals, because we had the old changed names, Chase Morgan, and then it became Wendy's. So U of R, Fisher, and Nazareth, out of the conference were the teams that kind of we were measured up against from that standpoint.
Did you coach when Jeff Van Gundy was at Nazareth? Did you coach any, or did you play against him?
Yes, we did. That was my first year. What happened? He played for his dad, Bill, for 2 years at Brockport.
Okay.
And then Bill left there, and went to GCC, Genesee Community College.
Yep.
And I tried to recruit Jeff because that was my first year going into RIT. But Billy Nelson, who's we were all friends, but really knew Bill Van Gundy very well and Jeff. So, he went for 2 years, I believe. He was at Naz when it was my first 2 years at RIT, and even got a text from him, and I complimented. He really has done great things coming out of Division III and all the way through. And said the only poor decision he made was going to Nazareth and not RIT, but I would have been a better coach.
Did you know he came to Plattsburgh State for a visit, and unfortunately, Coach Lau let him stay with the wrong guys. They were partying a little bit too much, and that wasn't Jeff. So he left at midnight. He says, "I want no part of Plattsburgh State." Because
really.
Yeah, because he was a basketball junkie. He was only interested in basketball. So, but we got about 3 minutes left. I'm going to let Coach Daugherty and Neil say their final comments to you.
Sure.
Coach Daugherty first.
Coach, the last 3 years, I believe, that made that trip up to Potsdam to watch you coach against Clarkson. The first year, I remember just like focusing on you and trying to see if you just still had it from like when I played years and years and years ago. And it was just amazing to me, the focus that you still had, the interaction with your kids, the intensity, the way you could still work officials and do it the right way was just amazing to me. So there's no question in my mind that you probably have another 10 years in you as a coach. So don't completely hang up on that idea.
Wow.
I'll have to talk to my wife.
Here's Neil.
Yeah.
Coach, I just want to thank you for taking the time to participate in Tom's show here today. And I know my parents are listening, and they wanted to say hello and thank you for everything you did for me. And I know I said it earlier, but just just congratulations on a absolutely legendary career, and wish you nothing but the best in retirement.
Well, I appreciate it, Neil. I'd like to say to my family, none of us can do what we do without the support at home. All the nights that I was never there for a 6 o'clock meal at night. I mean, if you don't have that, it's really very difficult. And I cherish. We'd always would have loved to win a national championship or whatever, but the gratifying thing is you guys and the relationships that you bonded with as teammates, and the success you've had after you left us.
Both of
is
them,
amazing.
yeah. So I appreciate you being on. You've always been a class act, and I wish I would have played for you. Although I probably would have shot the ball more than Kevin, though. But seriously, I appreciate it. Coach McVean here, and I'll tape the show. I'll send it to you, and we'll go up from there. Okay. Thank you so much,
Well,
and
thank you.
Take care.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Take care, and hope everybody and their family has great health.
Okay. Bye.
Yep.